Hello there, and welcome back to Talking Shit with a Yank and a Brit. I'm the Brit, she's the Yank. Here we are, talking like skanks. That's the only thing I could think of that rhymed with Yank.
Honestly, it's true, so it's perfect. So we do talk like skanks and skunks.
I'm really glad that we don't have skunks in this country.
I know. As soon as I said it, I was like, "Oh, let's talk about your lack of skunks."
Well, it's a weird reference, but when I play Sims sometimes, my dog always comes back stinking of skunk, and I have to bath them all the time. It's really irritating, and I'm like, that doesn't happen here, but I'm glad it doesn't happen here.
Just in the virtual world. I might have told you this story before, but I think it was one of the first times the old Nige came out to visit, and we drove somewhere, and I'm pretty sure like a skunk sprayed or got hit by a car, and therefore its scent got released. And he's like, "Someone's smoking a doobie," and I was like, "No, I think that's probably a skunk." And he's like, "What?" And I was like, "Yeah, like the animal, the skunk." He's like, "What?" And it does kind of smell a little bit pottish, which is
Oh,
why we
really?
probably refer to, like that's some skunky
Yeah.
weed or something, you know?
Well, I always wondered why it was called skunk, and now I know.
That is why.
Today
Yeah.
I learned. Thank you.
You're welcome. Learn something new from Kate every day. Very helpful information too for your life. You're gonna go far with that, I bet. How have you
That's
been?
life-changing info.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah, all right. Had a busy week. It's still winter, which sucks. Had a brief moment of sun earlier, and it was almost life-changing. Yeah. I was like, oh my God, sunshine. But it's gone now, and it's a grey evening again. It's been raining for like a week.
You must have a light on in your office because I thought you were sitting in sun, but what time is it there? Well, yeah, I suppose you probably still have a little daylight, right?
Yeah, that is the good thing, is that the sun is going down later and later.
Mm-hmm.
Before you know it, it's going to be up till 9 o'clock.
Do you guys subscribe to the whole Groundhogs Day bullshit?
In what context? What do you mean?
Well, like Groundhog's Day. Do you guys talk about Groundhog's Day? Do you guys like pay attention to whether or not it's a shadow or not?
No.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
No, I don't think so.
Oh my God. Okay. So February 2nd is
Yeah.
known as Groundhog's Day. There is a movie called
I know the
Groundhog's Day,
movie.
which is related a little bit to it, but not really. I mean, it's about other things. But Groundhog's Day is a tradition here where on the 2nd of February, Puxtawny Phil, and that's like the main one, he comes out of his hole, and if he sees his shadow and is scared and goes back into his little den, then that means we have 6 more weeks of winter. And if he doesn't, then that means we have an early spring. And he's right about 40% of the time, which still is just random. But it's a tradition that we honor. And I'm like,
he's right half the time.
Yeah. Well, and
less than half.
I've never in my life was like, oh, thank God he didn't see a shadow. Like that I've never put any stock in it. But this year, because we've had literally no snow in my neck of the woods, and it's been really mild. Like we had a few cold days this week. And as I was sitting in the training that I'm leading earlier this week, I looked at the window and I was like, is that snow? But when I left for the day, there was no snow on the ground. He didn't see his shadow this time around. So that means early spring. And I was like, good, because if that motherfucker saw a shadow, I would have been like, why is he trying to gaslight us when we are literally living in spring and January? That's stupid. And I feel bad for him because it's just this poor groundhog, that gets put in this hole and pulled out, and all these reporters are around, and,
Oh, he's a real groundhog.
there is literally a groundhog. Yes. Puxtawny
Oh,
Phil. Yeah.
shit.
I can't believe you've never heard this before.
No, this is mad.
If you Google it, you'll see all about it. And obviously this has been going on for years and years and years and years. So like we've
How
been
old
through
is the groundhog, or is it a new one every year?
been through many groundhogs. There's been several. So it's quite sunny today. It's not super warm, but it's not cold either. And it's just like, wow, it's February and basically it's just been spring, really.
Yeah, I think we're
Um,
going to definitely get an early spring because we've already got
well, you are.
daffodils out here.
Groundhog said. Groundhog
Mm,
said.
Groundhog has spoken. But yeah, there's already daffodils, which don't usually come out till like the end of March. I saw some snowdrops as well, which indicate spring. So yeah, global
Oh, is
warming
that
is
a plant?
happening. Yeah.
Not literal snowdrops.
No, they're like little white flowers.
Oh.
Mm.
Yeah, we don't have any flowers, but it does seem like our grass is I just don't think it ever died, to be honest.
Mm. Does it die every year with the snow?
I mean, usually when there's snow and it gets cold enough for the snow to sit for a while,
I suppose
it
it just,
kills
yeah.
it. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. I'm worried about what this means though for our spring if we don't have enough moisture to like kind of get the shit going again. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know what it's going to look like. It could be a really ugly, dry, dead spring and bad summer. It just goes to show you
Yay.
that you need your seasons, folks.
Do. We need to stop burning those fossil fuels, guys.
Mhm. And all those
All the big companies.
cars and the cow farts. It's ruining the environment.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, we're pretty much near the threshold now, so
Yeah.
unless something happens very soon, we're fucked. So,
So
welcome
fucked.
to the podcast.
On that note, um, you got you got any plans for the old Valentine's Day this week with good old Alan? No? Yeah? No?
No.
Not that
No.
you know of. He might surprise you.
Maybe. He is the king of surprises,
I
so.
hope it's more of a prank, to be honest.
That would
You
be
hear that,
great,
Alan?
wouldn't it?
Prank time.
Valentine's prank, baby.
Yeah.
No, we talked about it, and we're non-believers of the Valentine's tradition.
Me too.
So we're not really doing it. I have bought him an offensive card though, and I said I'd like to do that.
I mean, take advantage of that, I guess, right?
It's a nice excuse to
Yeah.
abuse someone.
Exactly. I say me too and not us too because excuse me, I do think that Nigel maybe likes to give a little card or something, do something nice, which is lovely. I don't mind, but I always forget about it and then I'm like, fuck. What do I do here?
You're such the man in the
I
relationship.
know, it's true. I am. I do wear a lot of pants though, so
Well, there you
Sean wears a
go.
lot of skirts. Yeah. But yep, it's coming up. I think my week's a little too busy and I'm gonna be sucked into training again. So it's just like not even on my radar. But it is coming up. So to all you lovebirds out there who do believe in it, this commercialized holiday that has its roots in Christianity, then I hope you have a good day.
Have a fantastic Valentine's Day, and I hope you get your dick sucked.
And who says we hate men every time we record? It was a nice thing you just said.
Exactly. Who doesn't want that?
Speaking of dick sucking, I've got a story for. No, just kidding. God, wouldn't that be? This is an XXX rated episode.
We need to give an explicit language warning.
I mean, we haven't yet, but maybe we should start. I know we took a break last week because of a few reasons of my illness and your birthday, and sometimes I think it's good to just go back to what we know with just straight talking shit, less preparation. But I did a little work today, this
Good.
morning,
About
and
fucking time. God.
I'd like to tell you a tale.
Ooh. Tell me a story of a woman of glory.
Oh my god, that was
Oh,
perfect. That
thank
can be
you.
it. That can be our little intro to this segment. Yeah, so cue the, I don't know, whimsical, beautiful, magical princess music if you want. Whatever. Because I'm going to tell you about the mystery of Dr. James Barry. All right. So James Barry was born in the 18th century and was known for being a successful medical surgeon in the British Army.
Okay.
Hang in there with me, okay?
All right.
It's going
I'm
to
with
pay
you.
off. He was also a soldier and, kind of did all of those things too, and went on to practice medicine for many years through the British Empire, known with distinction for his work. And he eventually reached the rank of medical superintendent general, or in other words, head bitch in charge.
Yep.
And apparently participated in many duels of honor, obviously won because he had a long, successful life and career. And when he died in 1865, the sources that I used described him as a confirmed bachelor.
Oh.
So, do you have any questions for me right away after I shared that just like little
Yes.
bit with you?
One. Well, you said he died in the 1800s, so I'm assuming that's when this took place.
Yeah.
2, the name James would imply that he's a man.
I also used the pronoun he a couple times, so
Mm.
yeah. Very astute and, kind of observant of you.
Thank you.
Can't get anything
very
by
much.
you, can I?
No. That's why I'm in the career I'm in. So,
So naturally,
yeah.
your question is, are we talking about a dude here?
Yeah. What's the deal,
Not a-
man?
Well, after the good doctor died, it was discovered that James was a woman.
No.
Yeah. Tale as old as time.
Ba.
I wrote that. Dun,
Did
dun,
you?
dun! Right after that line. Nice. This is why
Thanks.
we're friends and
Oh,
doing this
yeah.
podcast. So that's right. Dr. James Barry was born Margaret Ann Buckley. So, initial reactions to that is like, okay, we gotta like Mulan here, like a story like Mulan or something. What's the deal? And it's kind of wild. So I'm gonna tell you.
I'm in.
She was born in County Cork, Ireland around 1789. And, she was related to a famous painter. I've never heard of him, but his name was James Barry, famous Irish painter. Does that ring a bell?
Never
Me
heard.
neither.
Yeah.
It's not really about him either, but
Cool.
just fun fact. Famous uncle. He was well connected, wealthy, and heavily involved in Maggie's life, according to one source, along with other members of her family. It was theorized that Margaret, or Maggie's grandmother, who I guess was maybe the matriarch of the family, which might track for our Irish families. Maybe the women are a little bit more like, I'm the boss here, which good for them.
Yeah.
Apparently she was like, Margaret's gonna, I can't do an Irish accent, so I'm not gonna try, but Margaret's gonna study medicine. And everyone's like, great idea, Grandma.
Margaret's going to study medicine.
Great idea, Grandma. Perfect. And, even though everyone was like, yeah, that tracks, the reality is like, that's not a thing back then. Women don't get to do that. So kind of impossible, right?
Yeah. You'd think.
Well, that is where, Dr. James Barry comes into play here because they decided to rely on, her uncle's connections, and she and her mom moved to London to make this dream come true. Also, just a side pivot, don't know a lot about her dad in this story, or her mom really, other than like mom was around. But what I read was that her mom was called Marianne and her dad was called Jeremiah, and she was the second of Maggie was the second of reportedly 3 children, which we're going to come back to at the end of our story because it's important. But Maggie and her mom go to London because Grandma said she's going to be a doctor. So
They go into the big city, the big smoke.
Yep. And is that what London's called?
The big smoke, yeah. Was back in those days.
Because of like industry?
Yeah. The Industrial Revolution turned everything black with coal, and it was horrible.
And everyone just had lung issues from then on out. So not super successful on the move because they decided they had to leave London and set sail for good old Scotland. And
so they've got Ireland, London, Scotland.
Yep, just trying all the spots.
Just trying their luck everywhere.
Yeah. This is when good old Marge decided she needed to present as a boy and donned her disguise or appearance and took on a new name, her uncle's name.
James Barry.
Yep. And it was theorized that her uncle and or his important network of friends who she inherited following his death, came up with this idea. Like, you got to be a dude. That's just the way it is, kiddo. So she was like, "You're probably right. We hate women. They won't let me be a female doctor, so I guess I'm going to be a male doctor." Her uncle had died, which is why she could take on his name.
Mhm.
And she was kind of able to be like, "Yep, I'm his nephew." So, and no one really questioned that because
Mm.
I think enough important people were able to be like, "Oh, yeah, Marianne had a boy." And they
Yeah.
named him James after her brother because
And
he's
like,
super famous and yeah,
probably weren't many records back then or social media. So you can get away with that kind of
correct.
thing.
And probably you could just have the right people write the right paperwork, you know?
Yeah.
Um, so she did this and she was able to enroll in the University of Edinburgh and started
Edinburgh.
to study. Yeah, is that how you say it? Edinburgh.
Edinburgh.
Um, so sorry, I lost my. Basically, this ruse worked. So she studied to become a doctor. People accepted who she was, not without rumors, of course, but
Okay.
because obviously, despite making herself look like a man, dressed like a
Boyish.
man, she was small in stature, higher voice. Rumors were kind of like, is this person younger than their stated age? Is this actually a little boy dressed, or two little boys, standing on top of each other dressed in a trench coat kind of situation?
Yeah.
I think, she managed to get through college. She got to sit through her exams and stuff. But I think at one point they're like, we don't think you're old enough, so we're not going to let you sit. And so,
Right.
eventually she finished school at the age of 22, qualified for her, medical license or whatever, MD in 1812, was able to pass the examination for surgeons in 1813. Excuse me. And then eventually enlisted in the army. And I don't know about you, but I had some questions about that.
Yeah. I would have thought they'd do like a medical. And
They
obviously you're staying in like, I've never been in the army, so I don't know, but I
mhm,
visualize that they all sleep in like dorms,
mhm.
like
Good
in the
questions.
movies, you
Mhm.
know?
Good questions. Um, so yes, there was some sort of physical examination, and the question is like, how did she make that work? One theory
But
is given the well-connected nature of her uncle and his friends group, who were like kind of helping, facilitate this ruse. Um, Either managed to like doctor paperwork for her to be like, hey, look, you don't need to examine me, doc. I already did that, and here you go. Or they had a man basically stand in for her during the examination and
mm,
get the paperwork and then swap out again.
or she fashioned a willy out of sausage.
Yeah, and doctors were so dumb back then
Yeah.
that they were just like, "Looks good. A little slimy, but whatever. Here's some meds for that." So they're not really sure kinda how that happened, but she was able to enlist, and, I don't know if because of her role as, like, physician in the army, she was maybe given a different accommodation
Oh yeah,
than
maybe.
the normal foot soldiers, and maybe,
Mm.
like, there was a lot of different, like, the sources I read had a lot of contradictory or different theories about how things went down, so it's possible that maybe even though she was like, you're called a soldier even though you're the doctor, but you
Yeah.
don't actually have to go be with the
Yeah.
soldiers.
Well, I know someone who's in the army in training to be one of the medical people,
Mhm.
medical
Yeah.
soldiers, I guess. I don't know what
Yeah.
it's called. But he has to do the full army training,
Yeah.
but then obviously just won't get deployed
Sent
onto like the front
the
line
front
to
line.
fight.
Yeah, it could have been different back in the 18th century too of they don't make them go through, like, basic or whatever.
Yeah.
Or maybe the physical examination while noting that she was a male or, I'll probably vacillate back and forth between she and he, throughout the story, but could have been like, "Oh, but that club foot's gonna make it real hard for her to do basic."
Yeah. I imagine she was probably just very well connected, and
Yeah.
all her family were, and they just, ticked the wrong box.
Yep. Yep, that's my thinking too. And so after kind of going through all of that, she was initially commissioned to be a hospital assistant at a facility in Chelsea
Ooh.
before moving on to Plymouth, where she was promoted to assistant staff surgeon. Eventually, she basically, Gal continued to just be really successful. She got moved to India. before going to Cape Town, South Africa. And then while serving in the military as a doctor, she performed the first successful C-section where both mother and baby survived.
What?
That was in Africa. They even named the baby after her as James because of that. So, like, really
Crazy.
killing it.
And so
Yeah.
she really carried on the male persona then. Like, I'd have thought after she got in and was successful, maybe she'd let it slip a bit and be like, I'm actually a lady. But no.
Fooled you all. And you have to accept me now. No, this ruse, as you'll hear, was maintained until her death.
Crazy.
Um, she was also very, like, progressive in the way of being, like, medical care and handling of medical matters was fucked up and we need to change this. While in Africa, she organized a better water system and, like, she was like, she didn't limit her services to, like, wealthy people. She treated anybody who needed it, poor, rich, slaves, colonists, whatever. So, like, she was outspoken about that, critical of, like, the institution. She had a lot of people who were frustrated with her, like, annoyed by her, and part of this makes me wonder if this was how she also maintained it, because she was described as tactless, impatient, argumentative, opinionated, short-tempered. And I'm like, imagine what they would have called her if she was a woman.
I was just
Like, if
about to
they knew
say
she was a
that,
woman.
yeah.
Yeah. And some say it was, maybe because, like, that's the mannerism she tried to adopt to counteract her short stature. And, like, a lot of people were like, yeah,
Mm,
she was effeminate, but, like, we just sometimes there's effeminate men out there, whatever.
that's it. And to be,
Um,
like, respected as a,
yep.
male, masculine doctor.
Yep. Um, she eventually got sent to Canada, where she became the Inspector General of Hospitals, which I don't know if you know anything about that kind of title. It's basically internal affairs of that's at least what my understanding of it was. I worked for the Inspector General of the Peace Corps in law school for a bit, and it was kind of like making sure programming and stuff went well, did internal investigations. So I always like to kind of describe it as internal affairs for any given organization. So
Mhm.
also not going to make friends in that role, really.
No.
But continued to, like, just try to make improvements for the poor and all of that, and continue to just be promoted and serve the British Army well. And weirdly got into some trouble in St. Helena. And one source suggested it was because of internal politics, but she got arrested.
What?
And still, no one really figured
What?
out her true kind of, like, orientation or identity. Um, so she got sent back to Britain and was demoted to staff surgeon, but kind of just again climbed the ranks and got promoted again after that little hiccup, and continued to just work in, like, kind of advocacy and as a really, like, respected and revered doctor and surgeon. I already told you, kind of how she was described by her colleagues. She greatly annoyed them and was particularly so when they would challenge her and her reactions to their challenges, because she's like, I know best, do what I say. And they're like, but what about this? Apparently would set her off. Um, but it was said that she was always just trying to greatly enhance the lives of her patients by insisting on better conditions for the poor.
Fair.
Which, like, I get it's one thing to maybe want to be a doctor and get that glory and stuff and, like, be successul for
Mm.
yourself, but it sounds like she truly was like, we got to do better.
Yeah. She
So,
actually
like,
gave it.
yes, exactly. I mentioned duels earlier,
Yes. Say
which,
more.
well, so my knowledge about duels is kind of limited to Hamilton, where Hamilton and Burr had a duel, but, like, I think generally it's kind of like symbolic, where people face each other, and then, like, kind of when they're confronted, they, like, shoot somewhere else, and whoever maybe, like, throws away their shot first is kind of the person who is either the chicken or whatever. But
Yeah.
so I don't know if she actually engaged in true duels where it's like, I mean, we're gonna shoot each other and whoever
Like a
dies
sword fight.
loses.
That's what comes to
Well,
mind
yeah,
to me.
it could have been guns, it could have been swords. I didn't look too much into that because there's
Or
not a lot of
wands.
information. It could have been wands, it could have
Maybe
been,
she was a wizard. He was
yeah, it could have
a wizard. A
feather
witchy wizard.
dusters.
Yeah.
I don't know. Um,
Who knows? A duel of words.
yep. I'm gonna destroy you with my vicious rhetoric.
Exactly.
Um, but, like, so And I wonder if almost she felt like she had to do that just because, like, if I don't, then I can't keep up this ruse very well because this is what men do. We have to fight now because we're mad at each
Mm.
other.
I gotta pretend I got testosterone.
Yep. But apparently she was also a teetotaler and a vegetarian, which also annoyed
Oh.
people. Yeah.
Obviously.
Yeah.
You're
And she
Irish
apparently
and you
got it.
don't drink? What the fuck?
Well, and I actually wonder, I mean, if she was going around saying I'm the nephew of the famous Irish painter James Barrie, then obviously was Irish, but I actually wonder if she tried to assimilate even more by like being less Irish and more British.
Getting rid of her accent, yeah.
Yeah. But she apparently got into it with the Florence Nightingale.
What?
Even. Yeah. They had some beef. And basically Florence wrote after Maggie died that I never had such a blackguard rating in all my life. I, who have had more than any women, then from this Barry sitting on his horse while I was crossing the hospital square with my only my cap on in the sun. He kept standing in the midst of the crowd of soldiers, commissariat, servants, camp followers, etc., etc. Everyone whom behaved like a gentleman during the scolding I received, while he behaved like a brute. After he was dead, I was told that Barry was a woman. I should say that Barry was the most hardened creature I've ever met.
Mm. So
Yeah.
she's a bit of a cunt.
But let's talk about her death now.
Okay.
Because that whole time, living as a man, maybe people are like, there's something a little off about Dr. James, but good at his job. Maybe a bit of
Yep.
a dick, but
Mm.
gotta respect it.
Yep.
um, she eventually retired and returned to England, dying the following year of dysentery. And apparently,
Yeah.
this whole time had a manservant named John and a dog. The manservant, I think, was Jamaica, a black man. And there's a picture
Secret
of them.
lover.
I mean, there's nothing about any sort of romantic relationships or sexual orientation, kind of what people knew about her. So that's a good point. But we don't know.
Mm.
Uh, the birth certificate indicated male, and I think that was likely due to, again, connections. She obviously had a doctor friend who I think was able to kind of maybe treat her and keep the secret, like knew who she was, and so was willing to
Mm.
like be her doctor. I think that person signed the death certificate and indicated male. Um, and the issue came about because a woman actually tended to Maggie's body after death. And unfortunately didn't say anything. Well, not unfortunately, but didn't say anything until after Maggie's body was buried. But basically said, Dr. James is a woman. And not only that, I think also gave birth at a very young age because I saw some stretch marks that are typical of pregnancy, you know. Also just has a vagina and breasts. um, And this disclosure basically resulted in lots of controversy and debate because there are people who are like, no, no, I know Dr. James. And even though was odd, maybe a little feminine, short, uh, that's because I have firsthand knowledge that he was born prematurely and his mother died during childbirth. And that's why
Oh,
those are
well.
his features. Other people were like, I knew all along, Dr. James was
Oh,
a
I knew.
woman. Yep. And this debate went on for years and years, and the British Army refused to release any records until 2008 when the papers were
Oh, wow.
unsealed and investigation occurred, which confirmed that, in fact, Dr. James Barry was Margaret Ann Buckley.
What the fuck? How old was she when she died?
Well, so they say she was born around 1789 and then died in 1865. So
Oh, okay.
old,
Yeah, so very
80s,
young.
90s, yeah. Um, and so once that was revealed, there was a lot of groups, and this was in 2008, so like modern day. Um, there was historians and stuff who, following the disclosure back in the 18th century, kind of dissected the claims that she was intersex or hermaphrodite,
Mm.
um, and that uh, basically, or trans, I suppose, a trans woman, or trans man. They basically said this is a sloppy explanation by men of the time to explain how she was able to persist because they struggled at the time to accept that this person, a female, was able to be
So
such a successful
successful.
doctor. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, it's just not possible. It's not possible. So she must be part man.
Obviously. God.
Yep. And it just was to undermine the idea that a female could achieve as much as Barry did. So women can't be smart. They can't be
She,
doctors.
she
They
must
can't
have
be
been a
good
man.
doctors. It's so annoying. Um, I already mentioned about like how other rumors were, yeah, people noted the higher voice, the effeminate features, the small stature, but simply because they thought that James was trying to pass off as older, but was really a lot younger than his stated age. So people weren't going there because I think they
No.
just couldn't envision that being a possibility, you know?
Hmm.
Regarding the stretch marks that were noted by the woman who kind of tended to the body after death, some historians have said that she gave birth at a very young age, and this was a result of a rape by another uncle. They're not suggesting that it was her Uncle James, just another uncle or
Mm-hmm.
an uncle. And so this is where I want to circle back to the thing about her siblings and her parents.
Right.
One source I read noted a third child suddenly appeared in the family.
Out of
And they called her
nowhere.
They called her Juliana, and they presented this child as, Margaret's sister, and so now there's some theories that maybe that was, like, the pregnancy, the birth, the child that resulted from the sexual assault, though
Yeah,
there's not really
maybe.
a lot of tangible evidence about that. But what did happen, or another theory, is that following this, Maggie and her mom came back home, and basically Maggie's mom was like, "Hey, hun, got a new baby."
Got a baby.
And he's like, "Yeah, get the fuck out." And so Maggie and her mom left, went to London to seek help from her brother slash Maggie's uncle, and supposedly he actually turned them away. But what he did do was write in his will them to inherit, and that's how they kind of got the money and the network that they did. But he was
Right.
actually not helpful to them whatsoever. Um, there's also a belief that maybe the way Maggie's mother presented it to her husband was that she had an affair, and that's why he ousted her, and she
Mm.
obviously took Maggie with in order to I'm sure she wasn't gonna leave her, and her
Or even if
baby.
she did tell the truth that it was Maggie's.
Yeah, he could have
eh,
been pissed about that too.
Yeah. Back in those times in Ireland, it was very, I mean, even up until recent days, it's
Yeah, we gotta keep this
frowned
quiet.
upon to, yeah, have a child out of wedlock and,
Blame the victim. Blame
yeah.
your 12-year-old daughter. This is her fault
Mm.
for and I also
She's a
wondered if this
hussy.
uncle yep, and I was like, maybe this uncle was the dad's brother too,
Mm, yeah.
and he's
Mm,
gonna maybe side with him instead.
yeah.
Anyway, all of
Bastard.
that is just yeah, speculation more than anything else. But just wanted to note that because maybe Uncle James actually was not that helpful and he was a bit more of a prick and did leave him some money, but really wasn't like, oh, I'll take
I'll
you guys
take
in
you
and
in,
help.
yeah.
Yeah.
So what happened to the kid?
Um, good question. I don't know.
Dunno. Mm,
Because there was an older brother too who supposedly stayed with the dad. But I assume they took the
mm.
baby because why would the dad be like, if you had an affair, I'll keep this baby though. So I assume
Maybe
just
they
got
gave it
raised.
away to a
Oh,
Catholic
maybe. Yeah.
church.
Yeah.
That happened quite a lot in those days as well.
The other kind of noteworthy thing that came about upon this like unsealing of records was, one group kind of they started characterizing her as the UK's first transgender surgeon, which I think a case could be made that that's technically true, but I also think not in the way that we view that today.
No.
Um, because Maggie took on the name of James and lived her life as a man, never allowing anyone in her room while dressing, and there was never any like indication of a love life, sexual orientation, romantic partners, anything like that. Which to me tells me she was highly focused on her career
Hmm.
and pursuing like the goals she wanted to pursue. So this choice to kind of live as a man was more a matter of convenience and a vehicle to attain those goals,
Hmm.
which is more about just having to deal with the like societal viewpoints and limitations at the time rather than her maybe believing that she was born as a female but
Yeah.
more identified with male.
I think
right?
it was more common than we think back then as well. I've seen a few programs and documentaries, and even programs that are potentially fictional, where women had to pretend to be men if they wanted a career or to be respected in a certain
Mhm.
field, and
Yeah.
even in things like sex work back in the day, women would often dress as boys for the men that preferred that.
Boys. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I think it was quite a common thing because we couldn't do anything else.
Yeah. The other thing is that she left instructions before she died that upon her death, there should be no examination of her body and that her body should be buried in the bed sheets without further inspection, which tells me it was more important for her legacy to continue
Mm,
as Dr. James Barry, the man, because some people would be like, well, who cares after I die? But I think she felt that I've done all of this work only to have upon my death have this all undone and scrutinized in a way
yeah.
wasn't worth it to her, So while I do think I don't think the language of transgender probably existed in her time, even though people felt that way, like, we're born one gender and
Hmm.
then felt more the other, identified more the other. Same
Yeah.
with like homosexuality that had to be kept secret. I just those motivations and all of those things we do know about her tells me that she wasn't transgender in the modern sense anyways, but technically if we want to,
Mm,
if she was trying to pass as a man, I suppose that could
yeah.
be a label ascribed
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
her. But I don't know. What the fuck do I know? I wasn't there. This is just
Exactly.
me speculating, really.
Mm. Oh,
um,
what a shame! Like she didn't write a diary or something.
I know. And this is more of a coincidence than anything else, but it's kind of cool. The year she died was also the year the first female doctor in the UK passed her boards.
Oh,
So
really?
it's hard to say she paved the way because obviously she was living as a
Mm,
man, but it's
yeah.
just the timing of like 50 years after she had been living her life that way and like
Mm,
a woman finally was able to be called doctor, like as a woman.
yeah. That's crazy. What a coinkydink.
Yeah.
So this investigation that came out in 2008. Sorry, was that by the army?
I think the army unsealed papers and then
Right.
historians, whoever maybe had a vested interest in like kind of learning more about this mystery investigated. So like investigation in the sense of people investigated the claim
Right.
rather
Okay.
than there was someone who's like, we need to figure
Need to
this
look
out
into
for
this.
yes.
Yeah.
And, you know, I think like I said, there's not a lot because per early days, there's a lot of speculation about that. And then, like, the people who helped her, there's a lot of like famous people that I haven't mentioned who really did help facilitate this ruse. They were careful about it. And so
Mm.
they knew that they had to, in order for this to be successful, really kind of tighten probably the hatches. So it's just like there's not a lot of verification out there, and obviously everyone's dead. But it's it's interesting because this person was able to live the majority of her life one way and have people convinced of this. And it's just upon her death when someone actually could scope it out for real,
Yeah.
it all came out. But it was so hard for people at the time to accept
Mm.
that this could be true that they also had to make all these claims like intersex or whatever that I think
Yeah.
when they're able to review it, they're like, let's find out for sure. Let's actually talk about whether or not a woman could be as successful as this person was purported to be.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it's a bonkers story. And when
Yeah.
I came across it, I was like, I have to talk about her sometime. And I decided today was the day.
Well done.
Yeah.
Awesome. Crazy. Well, Maggie, well done.
You know,
Pulled off
and
the heist of the century.
yeah, I think to the extent she really didn't want this to be uncovered, in this day
Mm.
and age, I would hope, my hope would be that if she could realize that, like, people would be able to respect her as a really successful female doctor, surgeon, like, then it's okay. It's okay that people
Mm.
know this about you now.
I'd want to do the opposite if I were her. I'd be like, on my death, tell everyone I was a woman the whole time.
I mean, I think that given the era we were raised in, yes, that would be the natural inclination. But I think back then it was so hard to envision that, like, we would be here today in this circumstance
Yeah.
that she's just like, this has to go with me to the grave.
Yeah. Oh, I hope she was happy in her life.
Well, and if she did have a dalliance with her manservant John, like, good for her. She was able to get some love in her life. But if not, then I imagine it was probably a lonely existence.
Yeah. I mean, I hope she had some friends. Hung out in the boys' club, telling
Well, or
jokes,
people
smoking
she could at
cigars.
least, be herself around too. My guess is she probably had to hang out with all her uncle's friends, and they probably were pricks too.
Yeah, I guess family. But I wonder what her family thought. Like, she went back to
Yeah.
Ireland and was like, "Hello, I'm
I guess the
James
question would
now."
be, her mom obviously knew,
Mm.
don't know about her dad, but
My siblings,
maybe,
like,
yeah, don't know. Don't know.
crazy.
Mm,
Well, she could have been a good spy or an actress for sure
Yeah. Yep,
as
definitely.
well.
If you want to look up pictures of her, um,
Yes.
I mean, I think she looks like a perfectly normal man, I guess. I don't really know what words to use, but like I didn't observe necessarily any. Well, I think paintings everyone looks effeminate, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, if you do Margaret Ann Buckley, I think you'll get some. Like there's one that is, I think, on Reddit, just looks like kind of a baby-faced man, and Um, one website I had a picture. I don't know. I mean, it said it was a picture of her and her manservant, and I think she looked pretty masculine in that picture. I'll see if I can send you the link to that. Okay, here it is. I suppose I should cite my sources too while I'm getting back to my page. Okay, there we go. Wikipedia, of course. Thewildgeese.com, which is the one I'm about to send you. And something called jaquo.com.
Ooh.
WikiTree, Oz Wisdom and Lessons, and then a little bit from like the History Channel or something. I don't know. But yeah, that link I just dropped. If you scroll down a little bit, you'll see the picture I'm referring to.
Oh, yeah. There's the cute dog as well.
Yep.
I think
But I mean, like, looks
like
like
a
a dude.
boy. Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe she's wearing a prosthetic.
Maybe.
A prosthetic nose. That's what I mean, folks.
Oh, I thought you meant dick.
No, I meant nose. Because the picture at the top of that page is a painting, but doesn't look similar.
Crazy. What a mad story.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Who would have known? Well,
No one.
no one,
Until
apparently.
the lady was like, "Oh, she ain't got no willy."
She ain't got no willy. She must be a girl.
Yep.
Crazy.
So that's our woman of glory story.
Woman of Glory
Yeah.
story. Wow. What a glorious story.
Yep.
Well, that is
Do you-
crazy.
Do you want
Do
to
I?
play a game? Do you want to
Yeah.
play a game? Yeah.
I'm always down for a game.
I thought it would be fun to go back to the neutral song lyric game.
I'm so bad at this.
I picked ones that I think should be easier for you.
Okay, good.
But I had a good time last time I did this, and so I wrote these back on December 17th.
Did you? Wow.
Yes.
Okay, I'm excited.
Okay, so number 1. The love that we had was strong. Don't leave me hanging here forever. Oh, baby. Oh, baby.
Oh, God, I recognize it.
Mm.
Love that you're strong.
Chips is sticking his very scary paws under the door at me.
Is he?
Yeah, it's actually a little terrifying. He really knows the answer to this one and wants to play.
Let me in, bitch.
You want me to repeat anything?
Yeah, do it again.
The love that we had was strong.
Don't leave. Was strong. But I'm sure that's probably in loads of songs, actually.
Might be. Not saying this band was super original. Don't leave me hanging here forever. Oh, baby. Oh, baby.
Don't know. You got any more?
Any more of that particular line?
Yeah,
Or
that song.
Yeah, hold on a sec. Okay. The next line after, oh, baby, oh, baby. This is not right. Let's stop this tonight.
I don't know.
Quit playing games with my heart.
Fuck! Should have got that one.
So I think the actual song sounds like that part anyways.
Was so strong. Forever. Oh, baby, baby. Yep, I know it.
All right, good. So you knew that one. I just fooled you.
I'm so rubbish at this. I find it really embarrassing, quite frankly.
No, I think I am able to say the lyrics in such a way that it removes all sense of rhythm, melody.
I need the melody, yeah.
Yeah, me too. Next one.
Okay.
You don't need nobody else. No. Why you never alone? Why you always touching road?
Why you always touching road, man?
Yeah.
So you don't need nobody else, no. Why you always touching road?
Yep.
Can you give me like a clue? Is it a solo artist or a band?
Solo artist.
Okay. Genre?
I'm loath to describe this artist because I think people have pretty strong perspectives about it.
Ooh,
so I will just say R&B.
Do it again for me.
You don't need nobody else. No. Why you never alone? Why you always touching road?
I've got no idea. I never would have got that.
Do you know what song it is?
Yeah. No one else.
Okay. I knew that one was a little bit risky, but it was such a popular song that I thought maybe.
Yeah.
All right. This next one, I have faith.
I don't.
In your face. Open your mouth. Give you a taste. Holla.
Open your mouth. Give you a taste. Missy Elliott.
Song?
Get your freak on.
Good job.
Yes.
Okay. This next one, too. I have faith.
Okay, God.
Ashtray. Flip gate. Time to spark it. Gucci collar. For $1. Got out and walked it. I spit game 'cause baby, I can't talk it.
I know it, but I don't know it.
Gucci collar for $1, got out and walked it.
Still don't know it.
It's getting hot and hard.
Oh. God.
I thought that one was risky because even trying to say Gucci collar for $1, got out and walked it neutrally is there's like
quite difficult, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I got 2 more.
Okay.
I'm not sure about this one. Just so you know. So if you don't get
I'm
it,
not sure about any of them, so it's fine.
At least you got Missy. All right. Already going hell. Just pumping that gas. No one on the corner but swagger like us. Hit me on my burner, prepaid wireless.
Oh. Do it again for me.
Already going hell, just pumping that gas. No one on the corner but swagger like us. Hit me on my burner, prepaid wireless.
Fuck. I don't know. I recognize it, but I can't tell you who it is.
You ready?
Yeah. Ah, yeah. Yeah, it's a swagger like us. I was like, I know that.
She also says it kind of like
Swagger like
ass,
us.
more like gas. Yeah, so when I
Yeah.
say us, that probably removed it a little bit.
Mm.
Okay. This last
So
one.
hard, this game, man.
Yeah, it is. Because I honestly don't think I would have gotten any of these at all.
Thanks.
Okay. Or are you comfortable with the pain? You've got no one to blame for your unhappiness. You've got yourself into your own mess.
It could be any song
It
in
could
the
be,
world.
but it's just one.
It's a particular one, yeah.
Yep.
Can you give me any more?
Yeah, I will. Hold on, I gotta go find the lyrics again, though. Don't ever let anyone step all over you. Just open your heart and mind and your mind. Is it really fair to feel this way inside?
That did not help. Oh.
Hold on. You know that song, right?
I know that song, yeah. But to be
Okay.
fair, I only really know it from Bridesmaids.
Yeah, same. But I mean, I feel like I've heard it 1,000 times since that movie came out. That now
Yeah,
I know it. But that, like, I think I know the chorus, so
yeah.
that's why I don't think I would have gotten that one either.
Okay.
Okay, 1 for 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. 1 out of 6.
Not bad.
Woo! That is an F, but Fs are fine. F stands for fine.
At least it wasn't 0. So
Nope. All right. Well, that was fun. Thanks for
that was
indulging
good.
me.
Yeah, thank you for planning that for me.
You're going to cut this out, aren't you?
Yeah.
You and Alan are going to do your own version of this where you get them all right, and
Yeah.
Alan's going to have to put on a female American accent.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even notice. I bet he'd nail it.
No, you probably no, it'd be exactly the same. Oh, that was good. I'm going to do you one.
Yeah.
A hard one. Last time I gave you loads of songs that you knew.
Well,
really
that's, I think, the challenge with asking Nigel what
Yeah.
songs, and then he gives you literally all the songs I've been listening to probably that week.
Yeah.
Stay away from Paramore. Probably will get those.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Right. I'm gonna fuck you up with that next time.
I find like the oldies, you know, that's why I picked Missy and Hot and Her, because it's like, even if you don't actively listen to those songs, you probably have heard them because of the amount of times they've played in your life, right? So
Yeah, and also I find that songs from our teens, I remember every fucking single word to.
exactly.
I
Yeah.
can't remember anything these days. I couldn't, it's really difficult to learn a song, despite the fact that I am a singer and I'm in a band. But, but Spice Girls and anything in that era,
Mm-hmm.
I know every single word to, and I'll never forget it till the day I die.
Well, and I think you gave me a Spice Girls song, and I unfortunately couldn't get that one because it's
well.
like, yeah, even if I did know, and I did know that one, it probably is not the one that I know the best, but I know all their songs. It's just really hard when I'm just like, as bland as possible.
I'm giving no inflection.
Yo, I tell you what I want.
What I really want.
Really want.
So here's a story from A to Z.
A to Z.
Come get with me. You got to
It's
listen
so hard
carefully.
not to actually.
It is. I can't do it without the rhythm. It's really hard.
So, storybook time, children. Here's a story from A to Z. Why do they say Z? Because it has to rhyme. When you guys say Z.
I think we say Z in the song.
No, that's what I mean. They say Z even though you guys call it Zed, but I guess it's here's the
Oh, it
story from
rhymes,
A to
doesn't it?
Z. You want to get with me, you better listen careful, Ed.
Exactly. Just rapping. It's got a rhyme, man.
Yeah. Yep, always. Well,
Well,
with that, no, am I the asshole today? Because
I couldn't find one. Simple as that.
I'm like, fuck our listeners. No, just kidding. I love you all so much.
Thank you for listening.
Thank
We
you.
do genuinely appreciate it. And keep telling like your friends and family and stuff, spreading the word, and give us a like and a follow because it helps other people find us who you may not know.
Mm-hmm.
You can also send in any stories, questions, queries, problems that you have to TalkShitToUs@gmail.com, or send us a message or give us a follow on social medias at TSYBpod. That's us.
That is us. Let me know how much better you did than Gemma on Neutral Song Lyric Game.
Yeah, probably.
We're keeping score over here.
Lot better. All right, well.
Big love to you.
Big love to you.
Happy Valentine's Day.
Happy Valentine's Day.
I hope you get the most offensive card.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And I hope that Sean gets you a really romantic present an evening and you completely forget.
And I feel like shit about it. Yep, we'll see. We'll see. All right, I'll see you next time.
All right, see you next time, Gail.
Bye.
Bye. Take care then.
Bye.
Ta-ra.
Ta-ta. Peace be with you. God bless. G-Bag. Remember when I was telling you the other day about how it's hard for me to leave my home because I don't want to leave my blender?
Yeah, your emotional support blender, you called it, which I thought was weird and maybe a little problematic.
I said it feels like my emotional support blender because of how many smoothies I make and how good I feel these days because of them.
Okay, go on.
Well, I found something the other day that may solve my problem.
Oh, tell me more.
I discovered this thing called BlendJet 2. It's a portable blender that you can use basically anywhere or anytime.
Seems messy.
I know, but it doesn't look like it is. BlendJet 2 is portable, so you can blend up a smoothie at work, a protein shake at the gym, or even a margarita on the beach.
More like a margarita at work, know what I'm saying?
Or that, but it's also small enough to fit in a cup holder, but powerful enough to blast through tough ingredients like ice and frozen fruit with ease. BlendJet 2 is whisper quiet, so you can make your morning smoothie without waking up the whole house, and it lasts 15 plus blends and recharges quickly via USB-C. Best of all, BlendJet 2 cleans itself. Just blend water with a drop of soap and you're good to go. So, not messy at all, I don't think.
Okay, I'm intrigued. And now I want a margarita.
Me too. It looks like there's tons of different styles and colors, so you can have a margarita BlendJet for work, a protein BlendJet for the car, and a
soup BlendJet for the forest?
Sure.
Oh, I want the camo one because I am a certified badass.
Just don't lose it in the woods.
Okay, so what are we waiting for? These look awesome.
I know. What are you waiting for? Go to blendjet.com and grab yours today. And be sure to use the promo code TSPOD12 to get 12% off your order and free 2-day shipping. BlendJet feels so strongly that no other portable blender on the market comes close to the quality, power, and innovation of the BlendJet 2. They'll guarantee you love it or your money back.
Gotta love the confidence and the ability to blend anytime, anywhere with the BlendJet 2 portable blender. Go to blendjet.com and use the code TSPOD12 to get 12% off your order and free 2-day shipping.
Shop today and get the best deal ever. I'll cheers you with our BlendJet margaritas next time I see you.
Brilliant. Cheers.